Senator from Jefferson 33, you have further need?
Yes, address the body.
Please continue.
Yeah. Mr. President, a few days ago, you raised some concern about Jefferson County Public Schools. And you particularly dealt with the issue of a funding balance that they were holding that I was a little confused about it, but it seemed like a significant amount of money. And you asked that questions be asked and so forth, so I went and checked in on that to see what that was about. So here's what I have to report. Regarding the fund balance specifically, and I'm referencing the OEA document, where JCPS had an unusually end-of-year fund balance at the end of fiscal year 2022. The fund balance is not a static number because cash flow is not even for a school district. The bulk of revenue comes in during the late fall and early winter when property taxes are paid and the balance is really high. Then it declines steadily until the next fall. 6 months of rising balances and 6 months of declining balances. June falls about halfway through the decline. And that's not just JCPS, that's what I found. Every district cash flows like this, generally. And by the end of September, the balance is closer to 30 to 40 million with respect to JCPS. The state mandates a 2% reserve, as you accurately pointed out. But I've also found that see if I can get this right, that there is also another authority, a national authority, that recommends a higher amount, about 16 to 17%, which is where JCPS has been in recent years. So I hope that this helps answer the questions that you raised. There's nothing that I could find that was out of the normal. In fact, I found in looking at some of the other districts, if you look at it proportionally, you find that JCPS is below those of some of the other districts with respect to that. So I hope that this allays any concern with respect to that. There's another matter that I think you should know. JCPS is very important to me. I matriculated at JCPS. My children matriculated at JCPS. It's a very important institution in my community, and I know it's had some challenges, and actually I've been a frequent critic of JCPS through the years. But I'm happy to report this today. Record graduation rates, 87%, up from 82% in 2019. Post-secondary readiness, 78%, up from 53% in 2019. In that same time frame, the graduation gap for black students versus white students has narrowed from 4% to 2%. That's 84 to 80, 89 to 87, and the post-secondary readiness gap has narrowed from 34% to 21%. These are extraordinary numbers. It's moving in the right direction. Something's working well. I think they're on the right track. All student groups improve or maintain their proficiency rates in reading and math, and again, note their proficiency rate and grade level. There's one other thing I want to point out. We went through a very challenging period through the COVID experience. In fact, we still have some of that with us. But I'm happy to also announce that JCPS was one of the schools nationally and within our own districts that progressed significantly in recovering, and their recovering rate from COVID and what it did in suppressing educational attainment, not only in the Commonwealth, but across the nation. I think that's something to applaud. You know, I've spent almost a lifetime criticizing JCPS, particularly in the gap that they had in between students, African American students and white students, and I thought there wasn't sufficient funding to deal with that. But it seems to me that over these last several years, they've been listening and adjusting under the leadership that they have. I don't get impressed easily. And I'm not here to say I'm impressed. What I am here to say is the numbers speak for themselves. And I would ask everyone to understand that the way we progress is that we come together to help each other, to raise each other up. It's not about dividing and conquering. It's about coming together and building. It's about everybody being a winner to the extent we possibly can make that happen. I see these dynamics taking place at JCPS. I went to a state of the, I guess you would call it the JCPS school district. I'll use my own words. I think I was the only senator there. I don't mean that as a slight. It's just that I'm so much interested in what's happening there. And I have to tell you, I heard information. I said, what? So I called, I said, give me some of that information. I want this information. You show me what you're talking about. And they sent me information. Then I did some independent investigation, which I do. I don't care who comes to me with information and selling them some kind of program. I want to know for myself. And I got to tell you, I'm not all the way through it. I'm beginning to get impressed. You know, there's no perfection out here in that district, which is the largest district in the state, and the small districts that are in the state. Every one of them have challenges. But I want to encourage those who are listening to me right now. I want to encourage those people who are out there in the Commonwealth viewing. I want to encourage that press, which you referenced, Mr. President, which ticks me off half the time. It makes me applaud half the time. So that's what presses do. I want them to get it right. I want them to go behind what I'm saying and prove me wrong or prove me right. And then I want to ask everybody else that has a concern about this district to meet with these folks. In fact, they'll be here this month or March. And you'll have an opportunity to talk to high officials of that institution. I ask you not to dismiss information, investigate the information. I got too much to share with you. I can't do it on this floor that I did not know. So, Mr. President, I want to thank you, and that's the beauty of this process. I want to thank you for raising that issue. It started me down a road I did not anticipate, and now I'm going to just dig in and get all the information I can and share it periodically with this body. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Still in the order